This is the afternoon video update. This is Friday, the 25th of August. I'm James Spann. A lot of things going on in the weather office. First off, the heat's going to back down next week. Number two, we're going to have a tropical storm in the Gulf of Mexico by Sunday or Monday, maybe a hurricane. And we've got some rain on radar today. How about that? We actually had one lone storm yesterday, but good to see something out there today on this hot August afternoon. You can see that we've got showers and storms forming in random places, but you can see them through parts of Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Bibb, Chilton, Autauga, Dallas, and Perry counties, kind of in the broad zone from near Gordo, Tuscaloosa, down to Montgomery. And they're drifting slowly to the southwest. So at least a few people are starting to see a little heat relief in the form of showers and thunderstorms today. And, of course, we've got high school football games starting up tonight. And understand we'll have a few of these things around through about 8 or 9 o'clock. And for most of you, it won't rain a drop. But if you're under one of those things, you'll have a lot of lightning. It'll rain heavily for a brief time. So just be watching radar trends if you will be at a high school football game tonight. But good to see something out there, and that's a sign the ridge continues to weaken a little bit. The air aloft a little colder, the air a little more unstable, but the ridge is still around all the way from the Rockies to the deep south. There's the visible satellite view. You can see the convection firing in that broad zone from near Gordo, Tuscaloosa, down to Montgomery. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny. And again, we're way up in the 90s today. Although, like Coleman's at 93, Anniston 94, that's pretty typical for an August day here. Birmingham at 97. We do note Tuscaloosa managing 100 today. Down to the south, we've got 98 for Mobile, 99 for Montgomery and Dothan. And these are not official highs. These were just data captures at about 2:30 this afternoon. Of course, we've got the excessive heat warnings and heat advisories from Alabama up into parts of the Midwest. But again, next week, everything changes if you're tired of this, and I think most people are. So we've got a chance of severe storms through tonight on top of the heat ridge from the central Great Plains over to the Middle Atlantic Coast region. And then tomorrow, a marginal risk over parts of Tennessee and some of the adjacent states. And that marginal risk does include the Tennessee Valley of North Alabama. And again, like today, most places will be dry, but where the storms do form, especially there, they could be strong with a chance of strong straight-line winds. The microburst potential will be relatively high. And then on day 3, which is Sunday, we have a marginal risk off to the east over parts of the Carolinas. Rain for the next 7 days. Numbers are coming up. And again, of course, your number is going to vary based on the scattered random nature of the storms, but areas of South and East Alabama, 1 to 2 inches between now and Friday of next week, generally 1/2 inch or less for Northwest Alabama. But let's focus on the tropics here. We've got a lot of things going on, which you expect here in late August. We're in the peak of the season. We have Tropical Storm Franklin, and we've got a couple of areas of interest in the Central and East Atlantic. In fact, really 3 if you look at the 7-day graphic, and really none of these expected to affect the United States. 92L moving north, the Ghost of Emily moving north, a new wave coming off the coast of Africa. Bears watching, but it's a long way out there. Franklin is going to be passing a little to the west of Bermuda early next week, Monday night, and then curving northeast out to sea. It stays well east of the United States. And obviously the focus needs to be on newly named Invest 93L. And this is the one that we will be watching with extreme interest. If you're in around Florida and the Gulf Coast, very disorganized, but the disturbance has come off the Central America area there. Now it's over the waters of the Northwest Caribbean. And that'll be coming up through the Yucatan Channel. And really, we just don't quite have the modeling yet. The 18Z runs, no. Once we get the OZ data package back, we'll really get our first spaghetti plot. And again, for now, the best way to look at this thing, it's the ensembles. This is the ensemble mean of the European. And now, I will say, this is from OZ last night. The 12Z not available as I'm doing this update here, live at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. But the European still likes the idea of this going into the Florida Peninsula. This is the 12Z run, the operational run, and it places the tropical system as a tropical storm, not really a hurricane, north of Tampa Bay up towards Cedar Key. And this would be Wednesday morning. And remember, in a system like this with that approach, the Biggest impact will be along into the south of where that comes into Florida. So the main effect would be the Florida peninsula based on the European. And now the GFS hasn't even developed this thing until the 12Z run. All of a sudden, it's on the board, and it brings this thing into Destin as a hurricane Wednesday morning. That's early Wednesday morning. And let me just say, this is an outlier. There's been absolutely no consistency in the GFS output with this, but that's just one idea. This is a look at the intensity guidance for 93L. And you can see that we got a couple of possibilities for this becoming a Category 1 hurricane at the time of landfall. Most guidance keeps it a tropical storm. And there's a little bit of uncertainty in terms of this upper low that's over the Gulf and how this 93L interacts with that. Could there be some shearing problems? Could it keep it weak and disorganized? And that's part of the reason you're seeing the big disagreement in modeling here. A weaker system is going to go farther south. The stronger system will likely go farther north. And again, what you're looking at there, that's the European, and this is the GFS. And really, both of these, at this point, they're just ideas. Until the thing organizes and we get a central center, a low-level circulation center. Hurricane hunters get in there, and they'll be in there tomorrow, and we get the dropson data, and they get in the models. Everything now is just basically a guess. So, but the clear message is everybody in Florida needs to pay attention to this thing. There's a pretty good possibility that the main impact of this will be south and east of Alabama in terms of wind and rain. Not a lock. Again, nobody knows at this point, but I think that's most likely the outcome you're looking at there coming off the European ensemble. But again, this could easily change, and within the next couple of days, we'll have a much, much better idea what's going to happen down there. So let's go through modeling. This is the GFS. This is the 12Z run, valid tomorrow at 4. Model fans. Troughing in the northeast, the ridge weakens. And again, it's going to be hot. It'll be just like today, way up in the 90s. A few spots may be touching 100, and we'll have these isolated storms around in the afternoon. The chance of any one spot getting a storm is still only about 20%, much like today. And the same thing on Sunday. Now, the heat levels begin to come down. Sunday's high low to mid-90s with a few scattered storms in the afternoon. And then Monday, a noticeable difference. By Monday, highs most likely will be in the upper 80s for the northern part of the state. Low 90s for South Alabama with scattered showers and storms about. And again, as we get into midweek, it's all model madness. Again, the GFS, you can see what it does. It brings the tropical system up into the Gulf Coast and ultimately in the southeast Alabama. But this is an outlier. Remember, the European has this thing much, much farther to the south, coming in closer to Cedar Key, north of Tampa Bay. So again, we just don't exactly know how this is going to play out. The European suggests, while the GFS has a tropical system down around Eufaula, the European shows good push of dry continental air coming in here on the backside of the system. So huge contrast here. And then on Thursday, that system is gone. And this is a week from today, Friday, the 1st of September, first day of meteorological fall. Good to see the ridge weakening, a little upper low that's over East Texas. And again, that would suggest some chance of showers and storms. But again, I caution you, next week is a wild card. It all depends on the behavior of the tropical system. We'll go out 10 days. This is Monday, September 4th. I do believe that's Labor Day. And again, the ridge tries to rebuild, and that would be kind of hot with a few scattered showers and storms about. Rain for Birmingham off the GFS ensemble. The mean is between 1 and 2 inches between now and the 10th of September. Now, this is the national blend of models. This is an ensemble approach. When you look at these numbers here, this is not one specific global model. It's a blend. And you can see the idea here is that we are going to be in dry continental air over the latter half of next week with no tropical system. Highs drop in the 80s, lows well down in the 60s by Thursday and Friday morning. Cooler pockets would be in the 50s. And I would say this is the more plausible idea, but again, it could easily change. And hot off the presses, got the brand new 8 to 14-day guidance. This is for September 2nd through September 8th. The ridge tries to rebuild. We'll see if that happens. Hey, let's roll some Kid Cam video today. What do you say? What a crowd. I was in Carroll County, Georgia, Roopville Elementary School. Look at those signs looking like ESPN Game Day here. I mean, what a great crowd. They were so good today. Talking about the science of meteorology, and all the way from pre-K up to 4th grade in there, and we had an absolute blast. And, ooh, boy, this is some good stuff here. The goodie basket, that was outstanding. And look at the cake. Respect that Polygon. That's what you do when the weather gets rough. But had a chance to visit Roopville before, and that's just a great school. The administration, the teachers are so good, and the kids were so good today, so you guys are looking good. So thanks a lot for a marvelous, marvelous visit earlier today in Carroll County, Georgia. So before we go, let's go back to the radar really quick. And again, we're live. This is at 3:07 on Friday afternoon. And again, you can see we've got thunderstorms in progress out 82 just west of Northport, out toward Buell and Coker and Romulus. Got the showers and storms over parts of Bibb, Chilton, Autauga, Perry, Dallas, Wilcox, Marengo, Sumter, Choctaw counties. Like I say, just good to see some rain on the radar. That's kind of exciting. And, of course, it will not rain everywhere. Most of you will not have rain. But, again, if you've got a high school football game tonight you're attending and you hear thunder, hopefully they'll stop the game. The rule is 8 miles. And, again, lightning delays are aggravating, but they are absolutely necessary. Lightning is frightening. And again, we'll see very similar conditions tomorrow, probably an increase in those things on Sunday. So that's it. And again, just on the tropical thing, you're going to see a lot of just insanity across the social platforms. There's a lot of things in this science we can do, and there's a lot of things we can't do. And you get the people that are looking for, clicks and eyeballs and engagement to monetize, and they'll say anything to get that. And just try and use a good, reliable source as we go through the rest of the hurricane season and with 93L down in the Gulf. And again, we'll get that new OZ data set back tonight. That'll be kind of the first story. Look at the ensemble output from the different models. So we'll be watching carefully. We'll do some updates here over the weekend, of course, on that. And tomorrow, got a book signing in Columbiana. Leaders Corner Coffee and Tea, Main Street, downtown Columbiana, 9 to noon. We have so much fun at those things. Hope to see you guys there. And, of course, we invite you to watch us on television this evening. Right across the hall, Studio A, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and God bless.